Hello, all of my crafty friends. Thank you so much for joining me back on my channel, and welcome all of you to Pretty Pink Craft Room. Thank you all for your continuous support and your likes and your comments. I so greatly appreciate you all supporting my channel in each and every way. So for today, we do have another project, and I'm going to do a quick tutorial of how I put this album together, but I wanted to give you a quick walkthrough of how it looks. It is a normal 6x6 album. This is the cover of the album, and this is using Simple Stories papers that I had left over in my scraps that I just wanted to go ahead and find a way to use for this project. So this is, of course, the cover. I use their stickers, their ephemera, as well as the chipboard stickers and the cardstock to make the cover. And then these are just some stickers of flowers that I had in my stash. The spine is 2 inches, and then this is the back here. So when you open it inside, this is how it looks. There's a double pocket here. This is an angled pocket. And then this is a larger pocket here, and I just added some tags inside. Let me make sure I'm still remaining in frame. And then this is just a little journaling card here as well. This is actually a frame that was complimentary to the paper pack, and so I've showed you guys before that I've designed certain albums to kind of fit these frames because I'm trying to use them up. They've been in my stash for a while. So this is another one of those frames, and so I designed this album to actually fit this frame. And then of course you can insert a picture at the top. Oh, let's see if we can get it in there though. Maybe a little bit of a struggle. There we go. Okay, so the picture goes right there on the top, and then I put acetate on the cover of that frame as well. So what I did a little bit different for this album that I want to show you guys when we do the tutorial is I made the photo mats sliding. Normally when I have a pocket on the side here, I'll put a photo mat inside, but it comes all the way out. This time I made the photo mat where it doesn't come all the way out. It just slides and you add the picture and then it goes back in. So it remains attached to the album. So I wanted to show you guys how I made that sliding mechanism. Very simple, very easy, very beginner friendly, but I wanted to make sure I showed you guys how I did that. And then the next page is just a simple design. There's 2 of the tags that are on the top here. They're magnetized down. I added some seam binding here, and then when you pull them up, there's just a simple waterfall where you can add photos on the back there like so. And then it's the same thing on this side too, and you add photos on the back and right here as well, and that photo that secures down. And then of course another sliding photo mat that you pull out and you add the picture, and then it slides back in. And then on the very back I just did some fold over pages. This one, and this is magnetized as well to try to keep it down. So this one folds up like so, and there's room for photo mats on both sides, and then it folds over to the side, another photo mat, and again folds up, photo mats, and then it folds open, and then there's room for photo mats there as well, or for photos as well there too. And that closes there, and then there's just a back pocket here with simple photo mats for photos. You can add on the back or on the front like so. And that's the complete album. It's only 2 signatures, but it's really pretty chunky even with those 2 signatures. And so I just wanted to show you guys how I made it, especially with the sliding photo mats, in case that's something you want to add to any album. You can adjust the measurements and you can add it to any size album that you are trying to make. It doesn't have to be an actual 6x6, but of course I'll give you the measurements for the 6x6. So if that is something you are interested in doing, I hope you will stick around and craft with me. To create the album, I have 2 pieces of chipboard that are measured at 6x6, and then I have a piece for the spine that is measured at 2 inches by 6 inches. So what I'm going to do is pull in some paper to wrap these all together. So I have 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11. Just regular 65-pound cardstock that I'm going to use. And I've added some tape, some adhesive tape here. And I'm just going to join these two pieces of paper together. Just using my mat to make sure I stay straight with the paper as best as possible. So let's see here. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and pull the adhesive backing off of this tape so that I can go ahead and affix it together. And I mean, it doesn't have to be super straight, it just looks better and it's nicer if you can keep it as straight as possible. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Okay. Okay. So when I join my two pieces together, I like to keep this section here, that's where the pieces are joined together. I like to use that to make it the middle of my spine, because I don't want it to be anywhere in the folding of the photo album or anything like that. No danger of it coming apart or anything like that. So I just try to keep my spine in the right, to put this piece right in the middle. I hope that makes sense. I'm kind of fumbling over my words. And just as a side note to you guys, I am very sorry. I am still kind of sick, so my voice kind of sounds a little bit nasally, and I apologize for that. So please forgive me, but I'm still trying to recover from my sickness, so I apologize. So again, I'm just going to go ahead, and I've already added some tape on the back of this. And to kind of keep me straight too, I'm just going to put my ruler here. I'm using my photo mat, or my placemat here, to kind of keep me in line. But I just want to just kind of use a ruler there too to help me, to guide me as well. So I'm just going to remove the adhesive backing from this spine piece. That's the 2 by 6. And I'm just going to try to center it right in the middle here, like so. And I'm just going to try to make that firmly adhere in place with the tape. Okay, so now I have my 2 6x6s, and I'm going to pull in my binding tools. These are tools that I've listed before that are like available on Etsy, that you can purchase to just kind of keep you straight when you're doing your photo albums and trying to make sure that everything is lined up properly. So I use this piece here. This is part of the set that it comes in, and I use this piece to make sure I'm lined up and making sure that I leave enough of a gap here in the middle. You can certainly eyeball this. You can certainly do that as well, but I tend to go crooked, and so I'm trying to avoid that by just using a tool here, like so. So I have this already with tape on the back, so I'll go ahead and remove the adhesive backing, and then we'll fix it down to the paper cardstock. So yeah, I'm not sure if you guys are experiencing this too, but whatever's going around, it goes and then it comes, and then you think that you're well and that you've recovered, and then it comes upon you again, and that's what's happened to me. I thought I had recovered, and then it came back on me again, and so now I'm back with trying to deal with recovering from this illness. I think I just thought I had recovered, and I tried to get up and live life too fast, and then my body kind of showed me that I was not fully recovered, and so then I relapsed and got sick over again. So I'm just moving the same tool over to the right side now, and I'm just going to add this chipboard onto this side now. So I'll remove all the adhesive backing here and attach it onto the cardstock. Okay, so all I've done is I've added that second piece of the cardstock down onto the chipboard down to onto the cardstock, and then I added my tape all around there as well. I'm just trying to get the air bubbles out here, making sure the tape adheres down too. So I just added tape all the way around here. You could of course use liquid adhesive. I tend to use the tape for the larger sections of the photo album binding, and use adhesive for the smaller sections of it. So now that I've added the tape and everything, I'm going to use my second bookbinding tool. It looks like this, and all you're going to do is you're going to place the edge of your photo album into this bookbinding tool here, and then that kind of lines it up for you so that you can cut in a way so that you leave a section, you leave enough to fold over onto the edge. So I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. So if you notice here, I've just left like 1/8 of an inch here to cover the edge of that chipboard there. So this tool helps to make sure you're leaving enough on the edge there. So that's why I use it. So just gonna make another mark here, and then I'll make a cut, and then I'll do the same on this side. And then lastly on this side. Just make sure I'm staying straight. Okay, so now that the 4 sides are doing, I like to work my paper over my cardstock. I just want to get it used to folding in that way, so I'll fold it, kind of crease it down so that it gets used to being folded like that. And I'm just doing it on all 4 sides here as well. There we go. Okay, and there is no, as far as I've seen, there's no rhyme or reason to it. I just like to start with the longer edges first, securing them down. And just having to remove a little bit more of this tape here too, so that, because it's overlapping a little bit. Okay. There we go. I can fold this down, crease it, make sure it's sticking to that tape. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom here, and then we'll work on our sides. Okay, so for the sides, you do have to push in these edges here. So I just kind of use my nail. You can also use a bone folder to push it in, but you just want to push in just a little bit to make sure it wraps around the edge of your chipboard, and then you can remove your backing and apply it down, and it should give you a clean edge there. Oh, look at that buckled there. Let me see if I can crease that out. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, so then you have your corners all covered on that side. So then I'll do the same thing on this side. And again, I'm just pushing in those edges to make sure the very edge of that chipboard is completely covered, and then I'll fold over this like so. That was a better fold. No buckling. That's better. Okay, so now our album is covered from the outside. So I also take a piece of paper to cover this spine here, and I'm going to take a piece of paper, and I think I made it 4 inches. Yeah, I believe I did. Okay, So I have a piece here that is 4 by 5 7/8. So I made it a little bit shorter than the base of the album here. It's a little bit shorter than this, but it's wide enough to cover the spine, which is the 2 inches, as well as a little bit over on the front and back of the photo album. So it's going to be a 4 inches all the way around, and it'll cover up the sides here as well. So let me apply some tape onto the back of this, and then I'll adhere it down to the photo album as well. So again, this is this piece that measures 4 by 5 7/8, and I'm just going to use it to cover up the inside of my spine. I just turned my album to the side so that I could see better and make sure I'm centering everything too. And what can help me is if I fold it just a little bit. Okay, there we go. Now I know where my folds are. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's secure this down. And now you can kind of massage to get your folds there at your spine. And I'm going to do the same thing over here as well. Kind of get it used to it, gently folding it. You shouldn't have any paper cracking, but I just try to go a little slower so that it gets used to it. And there is your album cover. Perfect. Okay, so now let's move on to creating our hinge for the inside of the album now. So for my hinge, I have a piece here that measures 2.5 by 5 3/4, 2.5 by 5 3/4, and all I did was score this at 1/2 inch all the way across. So it was scored at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5, and then 2 inches. Again, 1/2, 1, 1.5, and 2 inches. Simple scoring there. And then on the back, I applied adhesive tape on the 3 inside sections, scoring sections. So the outsides I did not apply any adhesive, but on the 3 inside I did. So the way you're going to fold it is you're going to start by taking the edge here and folding it as a mountain. And then you're going to take the next score line and fold it as a valley. So far you have this. The next score line, you want to make another valley. And then the last score line, you want to make a mountain. So in the end, your device should look your hinge should look just like this. So you have the mountain, the valley, the valley, the mountain. And that's how it should come out. So now I'm going to remove the adhesive tape on the outside too, leaving the one in the middle for right now. And then I'll adhere it down. There's so many ways to do hinges. You can find so many different videos of how you want to do it. I think it kind of, for me at least, it comes down to how do I want my album to look. And then that's how I decide how the hinging is going to be. So once I've affixed the tape and attached them down, this is how the end product looks. So what I do is these edges here, I miter these edges because this is where we're going to attach the 2 signatures. And mitering the edges for me just kind of allows the signatures to go onto the hinge a little smoother. Okay. So this is where you will attach the hinge here. And if you notice, there's a lot of room here, a lot of room. And that's because, again, I made this design in order to leave space for frames. So if you don't need all that space, you can certainly make your hinge wider. Maybe you can allow for 4 signatures or 3. But because mine ends up being so bulky, that's why I only made 2 signatures for the 2-inch spine there. So before I attach the hinge to the spine, though, I like to cover mine's with the decorative paper. So I found the paper I'm going to use. I matted it onto some white cardstock as well, and I'm just going to apply it down to the spine before I actually apply the hinge. So let me go ahead and glue that down. And this, of course, is preference. You may not choose that you want to do it this way, but I like for the decorative paper to be down on the spine too. And again, I'm turning this to the side because it is easier for me to see and to make sure that things are even and lined up properly. Okay, so that is down. Here, there we go. Let's crease it down. Okay, so now I can take this tool and center it onto the spine, up and down, as well as on the left and the right, centering it. And then I'm going to remove the glue and attach it down to the spine here too. So again, I'm turning it to the side. That could be also because I'm left-handed that it helps me to do that too, but I'm just trying to make sure I even it out. And I also sometimes will flatten it out like this because that gives me a better picture too. And then I'll make myself some little pencil marks to try to make sure I'm staying even as well. So make some little pencil marks for myself here to make sure. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so I'll go ahead and add, glue that down to the spine. Okay, so now that my hinge is down, I can go ahead and apply my tape onto here. And when I'm applying my tape onto these flaps for the signatures, I try to stay as close to the edge as possible. I try to stay away from that scoring line because that's the folding part. And I want to make sure that there is no stickiness there that could impede the folding of the signature pages. So I stay as close to the edge as I possibly can. I can actually go this way. Here we go. Okay, so all of that is down and my hinge is down, and now I am ready to work on my signature pages. To create the signature, you'll need 2 pieces of paper. One measures 5.5 by 5 7/8, 5.5 by 5 7/8, and the other one measures 5.5 by 6 7/8. So I've already done some pre-cutting, scoring, and added some tape, but I'll walk you through how I did, or what I did with everything. So again, this one is the 5.5 by 5 7/8. This one is the 5.5 by 6 7/8. For this one, on the 6 7/8 side, you're only scoring 1/2 inch on each side. 1/2 inch on each side. Then I apply tape. And for me, what I like to do is I like to miter this edge, these edges, so that it reduces the bulkiness and it allows for things to slide in and out with greater ease. So I just mitered those edges, and then I'm going to fold these down, crease them, because what you will do now is you're going to take this sheet that was 5.5 by 5 7/8, and you're going to attach it on top like so. And then once you allow the tape to affix, it'll be taped on the top and the bottom, and you'll have an opening on both sides. So the top and the bottom will be taped down, and then you have the opening. So I'm going to just kind of even this out. It looks to be even here. And then remove the tape backing from the top only. So I'm just doing it on the top here, and then applying it down. So once you remove that top tape backing, you'll have an opening that looks like so. So from the opening, you want to go ahead and open it back up, because this is where you're going to apply your mechanism to slide your photo mats. So to do that, you need a belly band piece, and this belly band piece measures 6.5 by 1 3/4. Again, 6.5 by 1 3/4. And all you're doing is you're scoring for 1/2 of an inch on both sides. So I'm going to apply my tape here. It's only scored at 1/2 of an inch on both sides. Okay, great. So this belly band piece that you've scored the 1/2 of an inch on both sides, you're going to fold both of those flaps down, and this becomes your belly band. And it's actually going to affix inside like so. But then you need a pulling mechanism also to help the pages slide back and forth. And to do that, you are going to take a piece that measures 4 inches by 1.5. 4 inches by 1.5. And then you're going to score at 1/2 of an inch and then 2 3/8. 1/2 of an inch and 2 3/8. Fold both of those down, and I'll repeat this so that you can get a clear understanding. When you fold both of them down, you'll have a small section that overlaps. That's where you want to apply your glue. So I just applied a bead of glue there, and I'm going to overlap these like so, and it creates this kind of wraparound piece. And I'll repeat this again so that you can see it clearly too. And all you're going to do is now slide your belly band inside of it, and now it becomes a sliding mechanism on your belly band. So now I can center on my signature, find my center, and I'm just eyeballing it because it's not that crucial that it be the exact center. Make sure your sliding mechanism is not in the way of either of these areas that you're going to glue down. But I'm just going to remove the backing from one side here, and then line this up on both sides to make it even. My pulling mechanism is in the middle, out of the way, and then I will now pull the backing off of the second one. So now whatever you attach to this platform, this is like a platform, so whatever you attach to it, it will be allowed to move up and down like so. So now you can actually close down your signature like so. But what I want to do is I want to show you the photo mats on here first. So let me repeat what I just did for the second signature so that you can clearly see it again. So again, this is the second signature, and all I've done on this one is I've just attached the glue and affixed it at the top. So I'm going to bring back in another belly band. Again, this is a belly band that measures 6.5 by 1 3/4, and I scored it on 1/2 of an inch on both sides. And now I'm going to apply tape on those 1/2 inch flaps. Like so. Fold them under like so, and they will be attached here. But I'll bring in my pulling mechanism, and again, this pulling mechanism measures 4 inches by 1.5. 4 inches by 1.5, and I scored at 1/2 of an inch, and then 2 3/8, folding both panels under, and where it overlaps is where you want to apply the glue. A little bit of excess glue, let me get that off. There we go. So now you have this wraparound piece here. And you slide your belly band into it. Oh, I had some extra glue here. I got to get that off so that it doesn't stick. Okay, hopefully that's good. And you slide your belly band all the way through, and it should move freely up and down. And then you can apply this inside of your signature pocket. I thought this was just a cool little way of something you can do a little bit extra special for your mini album. We always just use the pockets and add the photo mats inside, but this is just a little something extra that we can do too to make it even more special. Okay. All right. Awesome. So now your pulling mechanism should be able to go up and down very freely. So now let's go ahead and make the photo mats that will go inside of these pockets. For my photo mats, I have 2 pieces of paper that measure 5 by 5.5. Now this is where you may have to make adjustments if your album size is different from a 6 by 6, because you need to decide how much of your photo mat do you want to be exposed when you pull it out. So I know that I only want 3.5 inches of my photo mat to be exposed. So I made myself a little pencil mark at 3.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pulling mechanism and scoot it all the way up to the top. This is the right hand side, or the top, where the photo mat will pull out. And then I want to line this up, center it inside that pocket, and line up my mark that I made for the 3.5 inches to the edge of the signature. So that means that when I pull this all the way open, only 3.5 inches of this photo mat will show. The rest will not come out. So then I'm going to open it back up, and I'm going to apply the glue onto the platform only, and then I will attach this photo mat on top of it like so, making sure that I line everything up, that it's centered as well as lined up. As well as lined up on the outside as well. So I'm just going to apply the glue onto this platform. And then make sure it's scooted all the way up to the top. Then I will center it and apply it down. Okay, and then I'll crease it down like so. Give that glue a little bit of time to adhere down. But now you can see once you move it up and down like so, your photo mat is in there like so. So now you can close this pocket up by leaving your photo mat there, folding this bottom flap up, and then you're going to remove the tape and allow it to affix down. So I'll remove the tape here. Allow that to come down. Oh boy, just kind of glued down to my mat. There we go. Okay, so now you have a pocket, and you have this piece here that moves in and out. Now, of course, you're going to add a tab here so that when it goes in, it's easy to pull out, but that's how your pocket goes in and out. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one now. Again, I'm going to measure it at 3.5. Make myself a pencil mark. Pulling my mechanism all the way to the edge here. Then applying glue. And then lining this all up. Sometimes the mechanism wants to move, so you just kind of have to make sure it stays in place. And then I just want to make sure everything is even. Okay, perfect. And then I'm just going to give that glue a little bit more time. Like so. So now I can fold this over and then secure this pocket in place. So now both of the signatures are completed, and the sliding photo mats are in there securely as well. So now all that you need to do is to attach it. Now, one thing you want to do is before you attach it onto your hinge, pull that photo mat out so that there is no situation where the tape is kind of mistakenly sticking to the photo mat. So make sure you pull the photo mat out, and all you're going to do is take this opening on the left side and secure it down onto this flap, and then allow it to center it as best as you can. And then once it's centered, then I kind of hold it in place, making sure it's where I want it to be. And then I go in and remove that tape backing. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the back side here. Just going to go underneath and remove that tape backing. Okay, so now that signature is in place, and so is my photo mat, and it slides in and out of my pocket. And I'm just going to do the same exact thing with this secondary photo mat as well, making sure I'm pulling it out the right way. Yeah, that should be right. Okay, then I can attach it on here, onto this flap here. I always start from the back in putting my signatures in, because it just kind of helps me make sure the signatures are even with each other too. So I just kind of make sure they're all lined up and even. And thankfully we're only working with 2 signatures and not many more. And so it makes it a little bit quicker and easier. So I'm attaching that one down. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the back here. Remove that tape backing underneath, and it is down. Perfect. So now both my signatures are in, and my photo mats are sliding in and out like I want them to. And now this album is ready to be decorated however you want it to look. So that is how you would do the sliding photo mats into your album. Again, it can be done on any size album that you are making. It doesn't have to be the 6x6. You just might have to make the adjustments, but the technique is the same with the belly band and the pulling mechanism. It's all the same, and it easily allows your photo mat pages to come in and out. And so I'll bring back in the other album that I showed you originally. So hopefully, let me get in frame here. Hopefully this gives you a little inspiration of what you can do with your own photo album and how you can make it your own and add a little extra flair to it with that pulling photo mat and making it a little extra special. So I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial and spending this time with me. I certainly enjoyed it, and I'm so thankful to you all once again for taking the time to spend with me in another crafting session. I so enjoy doing this, and I am so glad that I get to do it all with you. So until next time, I hope to see you again. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I look forward to reading your comments on this video. I do know that I owe other tutorials, and I will try to get those done as soon as I possibly can. I am a little bit behind because of my sickness, but I'm going to try to work on my tutorials and get them out for you guys as well. So thank you again for your patience and for sticking with me, and I look forward to crafting with you again very soon. Take care. Okay, bye.